Hi, children and grown-ups. How are you all doing? How's your coloring going, kids? Can you hold up what you've been coloring for those of you that have been coloring something? Look at all the different shades and ideas you have. Look at that. Every single one of you, I see you back there. Every single one of you is so precious and unique. You each have your own thoughts, your own creativity, and your own way of doing things. In fact, kids, would you help me out a little bit here? I need your help. Can you show the adults how good it feels to take a deep breath and wriggle a little bit? Just wriggle. Take a deep breath. Breathe in and out. Maybe stretch your arms a little bit. Adults, you can join them too. You can join the kids, yes. Oh, have a good old stretch. So do you kids know that the day each of you were born is a very, very special day? It's your birthday. And the day that every child is born is a very important day. And do you know why? Do any of you know why? Well, for one, it's because we get a new life on this earth. And with that new life comes new hope and new possibilities. And the beauty about a newborn child is that there's always tremendous promise when a new life comes into this world. And that's why all of you children here amongst us, we're so grateful that you're here, because you bring us so much hope. And we have a brand new baby back there. With the birth of every child, we wonder, who will that child be? What will they do in this world? What are their talents and joys that they are going to share with the world? How will they touch or change this world? In fact, 14 years ago on this exact day, my very own child, Gabriel, was born. He's with us here tonight looking very embarrassed. Would you raise your hand, Gabriel? Gabriel was a really special Christmas present for us. As we held him in our arms for the first time, we wondered what this new being just arrived on earth was going to be like. Our Christmas day and dinner in 2003 was spent in the hospital with some very unspectacular, runny food and no Christmas tree, and 3 very exhausted, sleep-deprived people. But it was the best Christmas we could ever have hoped for, because we had a healthy baby boy in our lives. And we couldn't imagine this little baby whom we were cradling lovingly in our arms would turn into this tall young man. Gabriel just turned 14 today on Christmas Eve. And every day that unfolds, we get to see glimpses of this wonderful young man that he is and the person that he's becoming. And I'm excited to watch all of you grow up too as the years go by, and celebrate you as you grow older. Now, do any of you kids know what other birthday we're celebrating this evening and tomorrow? I wonder. Anyone know? Yes. Jesus, that's right. We're celebrating the birth of Jesus over 2,000 years ago. Now, you heard the story earlier of Jesus, how Jesus' mother, Mary, was told that she would have a baby. And as the story is told, he was given to her by God. She was told to name him Jesus or Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Now, some think that Jesus was the Son of God, a miracle worker, the kind of spiritual superhero, and very much like God himself. They believe that Jesus was born into human form to be able to help and save humanity. And that's why the birth of Jesus brought many people a great deal of hope too. And others think of Jesus as a great teacher, a prophet, and a very wise man who had a lot to teach us. Rather than a God, they think of him as an example of a good, righteous person. And he was a man who really believed in social justice. He cared for the poor, the homeless, the outcast, and the unaccepted people in society. He was a big believer in love and forgiving each other often. And no matter what you believe about who Jesus was, honoring his birth is why we all gather together tonight to celebrate Christmas. But we also celebrate Christmas to bring families together, to share food and a time of yummy connection. And for a few days, we also try to focus on peace, as well as on giving and receiving. So I want to tell you all a Christmas story that brings me a lot of hope. Are you all sitting comfortably? Yeah? Good. Well, this story took place on Christmas Day in the early 1960s. It's a true story about an African-American man named William Lynn Weaver who lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. And when he was only 18 years old, William was returning home from work, only to see a 10-year-old boy riding joyously on a bike that looked remarkably like William's brother's bike. As he went inside his house, he asked his brother Wayne, "Where's your bike?" "Out on the front steps," Wayne replied. "No, I don't think it is. I didn't see it when I came in. I think it's gone," said William. Wayne ran out to the front porch to confirm that his bike was indeed gone. And William told him what he saw when he was driving up. It was a small neighborhood, so they quickly found out where this kid who'd taken Wayne's bike lived. It was in a shack down a small, damp alley. Wayne and William decided that they were going to go over and teach this boy a lesson. But the dad stopped them and said, "Let me handle this." So they all went together and knocked on the door of the shack. An old black man with a cane came to the door. The house felt cold, and only the light he had came from the candle. His grandson, the boy who had stolen the bike, was hiding behind him. Now the boy was the same age as Wayne, about 10 years old. And he began to cry when his grandfather asked him if he'd taken the bike. The boy said, "I just wanted something for Christmas." With big tears and great reluctance, he handed the bike back to the brothers, who left for home feeling triumphant. When they got back to the house, their father told their mother, and she didn't say a word, but she started cutting the turkey in half and packing up the half turkey and all the fixings. And then their father went to the yard and got some firewood. And then he asked Wayne, "Wayne, you have another bike, don't you?" And Wayne said, "Yeah." So they went back to the shack, and they brought food and firewood for heat and the bike that the boy had taken. And the boy started crying when they showed up and gave him the bike. But what moved William most was when his dad gave the old man with a cane $20, which was a lot of money in those days. Initially, the old man refused the money as being too generous, but William's dad insisted, and a huge smile spread across the old man's face. He bowed his head in gratitude. Now, William's and Wayne's parents weren't rich. Their father was a chauffeur and their mother was a maid. And William said he couldn't even remember what gift he got for Christmas that year. Because this moment of giving those gifts to that poor family made it the best Christmas they ever had. So perhaps the real hope of Christmas lies not in what presents we get, or how decorated our home is, or how much we can eat, but rather in what we can give to one another. Whether it's a sweet smile, some loving hugs, acts of kindness, or indeed presents, maybe it's more about the difference we can make in someone else's life. So in turning our focus to how we can share our many blessings and sweeten someone else's life, we make Christmas a time of hope and a time of joy. And that too is the reason that we celebrate the life of Christ. Because Jesus was an example of how to care for children, for the sick, for the poor, and for the needy. He was always teaching us to be kind, welcoming, and generous to others. So as you unwrap your presents this Christmas and sit around the holiday table, I invite you to think about whom you might bring hope and joy to through your generosity and kindness. May your families have precious holidays and special memories to last at least as long as William's memories. May it be so. Amen.